my people? What's up? What's up with it, King? What's good? Hey, we was just over on my homie's page and we was building. We was chopping it up, dog. We was talking about polygamy. We were talking about energy work, Reiki, whatever you want to call it. What's up, Vince? What's up, guy? What's up, King? So his live went off. I guess his phone died or something. So I figured I'd come back on here. Does it have me delayed? It seems like I'm delayed. Can y'all hear me okay? What's up, Goddess? B. Alexandria, what's up, Goddess? Can y'all hear me okay? Oasis of healing. Peace. You right. We do need to connect, Vince. I just thought about that the other day, God. I got you. I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna hit you tomorrow. What time work for you tomorrow? You know I should be, man. But I do need to get with you. What time you free tomorrow, King? I know it's Friday. You probably gonna be, you know what I'm saying? You probably DJing too. Now think about it. After 5, all right, that's cool. I'll make that happen. I'm gonna put it in my calendar so I'll make sure I call you. Amazing by design. Peace. Hey, what y'all want to talk about? I'm only gonna be on here for a little bit. I got to get up at 5. I was just coming back on because we were having a nice build over on Chief Why Not the Guys page, and it was a real nice build. And then we got cut off, so I figured I'd jump back on for a hot second. Any topics y'all want to talk about? Anything specifically, or anybody want to come on with me? Yeah, you want me to bring you on? False leaders. You want me to bring you on, B? I think I saw you say something about that on the Chief Why Not's page when we were just talking on his live. I can't remember what we were talking about. You said, "Peace, Goddess." B. Alexandra, are you saying you want to come on? I'm trying to make sure before we start going any further. Are you saying you want to come on? If so, just send a request or I'll send you one. Tasha, what's up, family? Peace, Goddess. Misdirection, I meant, but same thing. Facts. Vince, are you saying you want to come on? Oh, she said sure. Okay, Goddess, I'll bring you on. I'm bringing you on now. What's up, Goddess? Peace and blessings.
Peace to you.
How are you?
Um, well, I saw that someone had put in the comments that they wanted to talk about peace leaders. I would definitely like to build on that, and then I can go to my own question.
Ooh, what's up? So you said you said about what?
Someone had put in the chat to speak on. Oh, not my mama in the chat. Ma, go to sleep.
Hi, Mama. Who's mom? Which one is? What's up, Chris? Peace, King.
Pascal's place.
Pascal's place. What's up, Empress? How you doing? God is welcome. What's up,
Yeah, but we
wise?
can definitely talk about the false leaders, and then I have my
Mm,
own.
I would love to hear your perspective on that.
Okay.
If you want to tap,
Okay, see, my mom done made me blush. See, I can't even be my full self. Can you get out of here,
you
ma'am?
say
Dang.
your mom that made you blush.
Dang, she done jacked me up.
You can't talk your shit in front of your mama.
I can definitely talk my shit in front of my mom, but
You feel me? Shit. Mama
definitely
got
can talk my
the truth.
shit in front of my mother.
Mama got to know the truth.
She know me. I learned the truth from her, so
Oh well, shit. Then we good to go.
yeah. Um, my perspective on false leaders, I'm gonna say this. I believe that in this day and age, a lot of us are waking up, right? So we're
Fact.
waking up to something and it feels good to claim something. And because of the power that's in our community, I feel like we gravitate towards leadership. And if we're in communities where that energy isn't expressed or isn't encouraged, you feel like you're alone in that. So therefore, you can build a complex of leadership or singularity, and that's where a lot of it comes from. But a lot of us are on similar journeys, have similar perspectives, but like the whole saying, like the knowledge is universal.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us tapping in, we believe that we're tapping into something that's not been here before. We're just the first ones to know. So a lot of times when I hear a lot of people that proclaim themselves as leaders, how they're delivering messages and divine knowledge and universal knowledge to the masses, it's almost as if it was their knowledge.
Right.
And that's where we get kind of messed up. You might
Mm-hmm.
have a responsibility to have a comprehension of something for your community,
Right.
but that doesn't put you above your community.
Not at all.
It's a lot of trauma that has gone on in our communities. There's a lot of disconnection. There's a lot of design, and some of us are able to slip past the veil. But that's only because of the responsibility. God gave us responsibility to go back
Mm-hmm.
to show our communities. I'm not going to say none of us are leaders, because we definitely have leadership positions, but with a leadership position comes a lot of responsibility.
Definitely
And the responsibility is left out.
don't I know?
Mm.
God damn.
That's the
You
biggest part.
right. You are asked, what's up, God? Peace.
Peace, King. How
So
you doing,
it's
my brother?
I'm doing
peace.
wonderful. You hear this guy that's over here talking, speaking the truth over here?
Man, I I love the topic. I'm actually glad that she's tapping in on that particular subject matter, because that's the conversation of leadership in our community and our culture is a conversation that needs to be had so deeply, because it has literally been the key reason why we in the position that we are in right now to this day. I mean, I don't
Man.
want to. I could go in a little further, but I want the queen to continue to tap into her thought, and then I'll just vet you back off of her portion.
No, no, continue. I would love to hear your perspective, and we can all share and
Oh yes,
build from
absolutely.
there.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, this it's a great subject matter. On like you said, we all exhibit leadership qualities in one way or another, right? And it's your job to figure out what way your leadership qualities are made manifest. The issue is that when most people find out what their leadership qualities are, how they go about utilizing those things, or how their leadership uh, skills are perceived by others. And if we look at just our history, we go back to after the Berlin Conference, and we could look at all of the African nations who quote unquote gained independency from the European oppressors. You start to see such a uprise in corruption in African politics because of the leaderships in those particular tribes, nation states, et cetera, et cetera. We could also go to the American culture, post slavery, and we can see through Jim Crow, we can see through the civil rights movement, we can see through the 60s, through the 80s, through the 90s, all the way up to currently now, how the leadership has been our primary issue as it pertains to us as a people. Not meaning like it's on one individual person to do something. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying those who are in leadership positions has failed us because of their tactics, their mannerisms, their character, their the way that they are perceived by the public. Um, has tainted us as a people, therefore has put our development and our movement on a halt, because we are not leading ourselves effectively, efficiently, and our leadership is not the expectations of leadership in our community is not clear cut, and that has caused so much confusion of what a leader is. You got some people to say a leader is a nigga with his pants sagging and a gun in his hand. You got some people that would say that leader is a person with a suit on that's saying "Amen" with a towel in his hand. You know what I mean? So the definition of leadership is being confounded. Therefore, our expectations of leaderships has been confounded. And therefore, to be a leader in our community has been the most hardest thing the most scrutinized thing, the most dangerous thing that we can ever do, in so many different ways. So again, not to be extraordinarily long, I just wanted to say that to say to you, sister, that I think that the subject matter is extraordinarily important, or the content that we're talking about is extraordinarily important, because we have to outline what it is, how it should be, and what ways that it could benefit and affect us in a negative way, going forward. So on that, I will yield the floor to the panel again.
Shay. Vince, you got something you want to add to that? Welcome, by the way.
Yeah, welcome. Peace. What's going on, everybody?
Peace and love.
Peace,
We
precious.
would catch me before I close my eyes. We both got to get up at 5 a.m. Well, definitely an interesting topic. You know what I mean? False leaders. One thing that I want to stress to everyone that's out here, you got to test those leaders. Everybody that's sitting in a seat, they don't always deserve to be sitting in that seat.
Right.
And so you have to present those questions to them that aren't those yes questions, like yes, I agree. You have to present those no's to get them to answer the hard questions that many of them try so hard to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, when you have leaders that are out here, like you said, it's dangerous, and
Very dangerous.
This particular day and time, especially if you're not how can I say, if you're not studying and showing yourself approved.
Mm-hmm.
Even still, if you are studying and showing yourself approved, doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to be in that seat.
Yes, sir.
Just because you acquire the knowledge, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are
worthy,
that you are assigned to distribute that knowledge
yes,
in ways to lead the masses.
Yes,
you may be qualified to teach, but you're not supposed to teach on the level to whereas you have you have people following you, because you have a responsibility when you do that.
Yeah, that's public. You ain't worthy of public leadership.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah,
that's big. And a lot of people that sit in leadership, it's not that they don't understand. I just don't think that they care that who they affect at the end of the day, as long as it's not affecting them. Many of them, I won't say all of them, many of them are saying to themselves, like, yo, as long as it's not affecting me and mine, then, I'm not really too worried about what happens. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that the backlash comes back to you anyway, because when you are no longer in that position, excuse me, y'all, and
you're okay, bro.
You're sitting back amongst the audience again, it does affect you.
Yeah.
At some point, it reciprocates.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So man, I mean, this test what surrounds you. Don't just let nobody tell you that they know something and they're not showing improvement. I don't care what way of living you have. I don't care what you're doing in your life. Test the spirits that's in front of you.
So I would say, even to this fact, there isn't any duty that's like required for someone to consider themselves a leader. Whereas I would think through history, leadership was established through your community, through your works, through your duties, your sacrifices.
And it's still the same way today. It's just because the communities have been compromised a bit, because the family households has been compromised a bit, because we are no longer at the forefront of our community and our nation. A lot of things has been compromised as it pertains to who is the one responsible for designating who is the leaders in our community.
So, but I would say, even like when we were speaking about how dangerous it was, the people that took on the consequences, so where we've even gotten that notion that being a leader was dangerous was because of their actions and duties. It's never about what we say. Okay. You could talk all day long on Bigo about how the revolution this, how whatever your perspective, but until you stop talking and put action to that thing, that's when you're actually perceived a threat. So that's more so what I was speaking on. So it's like you can consider yourself a leader because of knowledge, because of concepts that you have. But the
I think you're tapping into and not to be playing semantics, but I think what you're referring to mostly is like a revolutionary leader, right? You know,
No.
someone who is, you know, more so active, putting forth, implementing actual, you know,
So
ideas.
the leaders that I'm talking about have been people that have been trying to establish human basic rights, right? So when
Exactly.
it comes to the control of land for your people,
Resources. Yeah.
resources,
Hmm.
food,
Yeah.
things that every other community has without having to do these revolutionary things that you're talking about.
Right.
Because
No, I
every
agree. No,
other
I agree with you.
people
I
run a
I just use the term.
commodity.
Yeah, I just use the
So
term
that's
revolution.
what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
not revolutionary. It's very basic.
No, it is
And
for our. No, no, I agree with you. It's very extraordinarily basic. We are
yes, go
dealing with.
ahead. Go ahead. Go
Let me
ahead.
tap
I'm
in on that.
sorry. He's
I
trying.
think
He's trying
first,
to. Okay. Okay. Okay.
go ahead. No, no, no. What were you saying,
No. No.
guys?
No. No. You. No. You. I thought
Oh,
someone else was talking. I'm sorry.
I mean, this is just my perspective. I don't really think we need to be searching for a leader per se. I feel like we all need to go within, get ourselves together, and then start acting accordingly from there.
But I
Because
agree with you. So that's we weren't talking necessarily about when you pose when the question was posed. I didn't take it as a singular person
Right.
doing something for vast
Hmm.
communities. When I say community, that could be your
uh,
family, like you as a man
yeah, so
having
I'm
certain perspectives in
talking about.
terms of you having skills,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's you get what I'm saying? It's not so
Yeah.
much
I
about
get
one
exactly what you
person.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so for our community, considering the history, those basic things in terms of human rights, and like specifically, we're talking about marriage and how Black women make more money than the Black man and all of that. What I was kind of trying to make the point of how like systematic that whole currency system is, position is, and like the disbalance. Like, so for me, actual wealth is having the skills to maintain a life on this planet based on your contribution to the planet. That has
I should
nothing to do with the money.
no.
So you owning land and you being a farmer, you have to have money to buy said land and this, that, and the third. So like the balance is kind of shifted.
Yeah. I agree.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So this revolutionary thing that you're talking about is kind of revolutionary because we're dealing with a system that is trying to like throw that balance
Exactly. That's what I.
of
Exactly.
us off.
Exactly.
And therefore you see a couple of people that have the gumption enough to say no when you were brought here as a commodity. And that throws off the balance of the economics of the system because we're the
Yeah.
most valuable thing here.
Hmm.
So that's more so what you get what I'm, yeah.
Okay.
It can go into so many different
So
directions.
it's a lot of yeah. I was about to say that it can go into as many. I was thinking more now that you're explaining it what you were meaning. Now I'm listening to you instead of saying revolutionary, more like an evolutionary leadership. But
Mm.
still in all, like we said, and
But
even
the evolutionary leadership was a right of every person in their household.
right, and that's what somebody just said in the chat when she just said that awakening the leader within you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
right?
That's
Absolutely.
And
job.
so
And some people are tasked with the duty of doing that within their community. So when I think of a leader, it's nothing about singular gain. It's about the responsibility of almost reminding your community of who they are.
No, that's
Yeah.
a fact. Even when you go into like ancient Kemet, I like the way you said that. You know, when you have traditionally we have been conditioned to think that the hierarchy of leaderships or revolutionary movements is some type of head and then a body of people that's
Right.
following the head.
right,
When we look at our ancient cultures and societies, like if we look at the 42 laws of Ma'at for an example, we see that every individual person was tasked with the responsibility of being mindful and considerate of the other. Therefore, they had to develop quote unquote leadership skills because if you are able to be compassionate, empathetic, mindful, considerate, sympathetic, empathetic toward another, then you are cultivating leadership skills because every great leader knows how to connect with that of person that they're interacting with. So now you have a whole community of people who are now operating under this idea. So
Exactly.
now collectively, everybody has tapped into that leader within them. So if you was to kill one person, you have over 100 million other people with that same energy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
So
just
now
think
the
about what you just said. Before anyone chimes, I just want to just jump in there real quick. So think about what you just said. how that puts a whole nation, and we're talking about our nation right now, in a mindset
Absolutely.
in this
Absolutely.
country, and how powerful that could be in terms of how our dollar, just even, we're not even talking about our bodies, but how our dollar goes into this economy more times than any other race of people in this country. We're literally
Facts.
the most valuable. So think about
In the
how
world. Shit.
in the entire world, on top of us influencing culture, music, I'm out of the United States right now, so I can definitely like second to how our culture is very impactful to the whole world. But I didn't know that when I was in the States.
You would know it because
I didn't know
they
that.
won't show it. They won't show it. They don't want people to know that.
But that's why I'm saying, like, when you were saying leadership is dangerous, that's what's dangerous about it right
The
there.
influence. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it is.
Because you gotta
And
look at it. When you look at like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ken.
I was gonna say it also can be dangerous because, like Wise, you were saying earlier, even in that type of role, even in the community,
Marcus Garvey, Life and Lessons.
even in that role, our people will still turn on your ass.
Yes, they would.
I've dealt with it personally, so I know.
Facts.
So
No, and that's why. So this is why. That's why I said. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
no, go ahead.
No, go.
I couldn't hear you, Wes.
No, go ahead. I think my screen is delayed.
Oh,
It
okay,
is.
okay.
His screen is delayed.
No, I was just going to say yes. Like this is why it is dangerous because especially in today's terms, when you're coming with a righteous intent to uplift the people, so they could all identify their leaderships within themselves, and everybody is suffering from past traumas and different vices they have to overcome. Everybody is not able to receive that insight
Fact.
from you. So then you have some who will resent you for trying to wake them up. You have some who will be not able to receive the message because they just simply can't comprehend the message, and because of that alone, they willing to bring you harm. We see this happen to all of our leaders. You know what I'm saying? Good, bad, or indifferent. And this is why, for me personally, and whereas like I told you before, I decided to work with children because I say, you know what, if I can be able to target and pinpoint, exactly how to unlock that aspect of leadership within them at an early age, it won't be a foreign thing when they become an elder or adults, when they see this type of interaction, because they'd be already familiar with such. Because a lot of us is still enslaved, but all of us is still asleep, and trying to get up out, go on a podium like we did back in the 60s and say, wake up, wake up, wake up, you might get shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that level of danger out here for us? You know what I'm saying? Because of all of these different ideas that's running rampant and all this different rhetoric that's just, abundant. You have to be very cautious with who you choose to draw with on this level.
I mean,
That's a
I
big.
I I, I agree. I agree to disagree with that because it's it's dangerous just stepping off the sidewalk. You
Well, yeah, I'm
know,
not undermining other dangers. I'm just highlighting the dangers in leadership.
I mean, and of course, I totally agree. I mean, I guess for me, and this is my experience, you know, I've always been fearless as a leader.
You got to be.
And I encourage other people that who are trying to discover the leader within them to be fearless in discovering your leadership.
You have to be.
You feel what I'm
Never
saying? And
be
so,
prepared.
yeah, definitely. I just want that to be clear. Like, we talking about, you right. In this time, it's a different kind of time. It can be dangerous to stand up on the soapbox. You feel what I'm saying? And be on the corner. It can be that. You know what I mean? But again, just like the sister said earlier, a leader is defined by his or her action.
That's
You
it.
feel what I'm saying? Versus to what, and sometimes the person on the soapbox needs to be out there, to awaken. I'm not going to say the masses, maybe just to awaken one,
Mm, okay.
because sometimes
Okay,
it's all about
so
awakening 10,000 people at one time.
Right.
so How do you guys feel about social media and your prospects and it being a tool in terms of it being, I don't know how you're quite using Soapbox, but I'm going to put like social media as like an example of the Soapbox.
Ask the question again. I don't think I understand exactly what you mean. What you asking?
So how do you feel about like today and time
Mm.
in terms of like sharing your individual perspectives in terms of like social media being that like I think I'm using the soapbox term the correct way.
I got you. I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead, Kings.
I love.
and that being in like relation to, yes, it can be a duty, but also, do you also feel like it's like almost, I'm just using an example for myself and I'm doing it on social media anyway. So,
I already know where you're going.
okay, so you know where I'm going, so you know where I'm going. Exactly.
Hmm.
I think
I mean,
that you really know where I'm going.
I think I
And
do. I think I do. You could go a little bit more without touching all the way in on it, and then I'll come in so I can make sure I'm correct.
so to the day and age, it's like the work that our ancestors might have done to be or to do the things that were normal was different. And that was a strong connection with the land. And like you being dependent on a land, not a system or a person. This is some new shit. Like even systems in history were still based on land.
Hmm.
Like even now, it's like the people that used to work the land, we don't have a relationship with the land,
Right.
right? Um, and just the imbalance of now your work has to be shown on their system so they almost know who you are.
I think that's where I thought you were going.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, like I always see both perspectives and I always see both sides of
That's
everything.
what I've been trying to work with because
You
it's
know?
two sides to it.
Yeah, I always see both sides in one flip side of the coin. Um, I think social media has been amazing as far as helping people like us, for instance, connect. Because if it wasn't for social
True.
media, I would have never met you. I would have never
True.
met Wise. I would have. I know Vince. We are in the same part of town, same city, so I know him. But I've met several tribe members now that I connect with, build with, grow with, heal with. We are, in the process of trying to buy land, all that type of stuff. So for that side, I like it. I love it because, I wouldn't have been able to build and link up with these type of people all across the world if it wasn't for something like this. Now, on the flip side, it does put them into business a little more. But to be honest with you, got a cell phone, you got a TV. I mean, this is just real facts. If you got a cell phone, you got a TV, you got certain devices, Bluetooths in your house, they listening to that shit anyway. So the only time you really could be like on some real private shit is if you have like no devices wherever you are when you talking. I mean, that's just my perspective. So I mean,
I agree.
that's how I feel about it. I mean, I think it's done wonders for us. I mean, I honestly think it backfired on us. If you ask me personally, I think it backfired because more people awakening every single day. And
The way the mind works, as far as like the brother Will said, being able to connect with other minds around the world, like that's what the mind wants to do anyway. The mind wants
I
to
agree.
connect with other minds to create this networking system of the mind where we can all be one. It's like one of the purposes for the mind. So when we have these platforms, the mind uses them as a tool to do just that, to help connect. Like the brother Wiz got like the electricity coming from the eye and the head. The mind wants to connect in that aspect. So these platforms allow the mind to do just that. We could share thoughts instantaneously from great distances. It's almost miraculous that it could be done. Now, I agree with your premise, meaning, the oppositional force could be collecting intel, they could be collecting data to be able to
But
build a.
it But that's what I'm saying. It's shown that they are. So
I
literally,
mean, yeah,
like
of
me
course, absolutely,
messaging
yeah,
you,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
But that's what I'm saying. So well, you know what they doing. So we got 2 hours. You can still get the message up.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I
And say,
got
hey,
you.
you know, now they got, you know, because the message travels faster than their ability to respond to it to try to cut it off. Now they do what they can by interfering on this and interfering on that, but there's so many minds coming together on all of these platforms that they can't work fast enough to stop it.
So based on our I think the way that the question was posed in terms of this being the new frontier in terms of like a lot of where the work is shown. How do you feel about people to claim to be leaders on like the internet, where it's like it's a new playing field, so we
But
can't
you just
base
said it clean. You
leadership
said it's a place for your what to be shown,
or your leadership qualities to be
or
shown,
you
meaning it's
you,
like
you
the
said your works to be shown, to be exact, right, Queen?
right, right.
Yeah. So if you don't have no works, what are you showing? So if you have no works,
Well,
But I'm saying like if
hold
you're
on, hold on.
basing, but this is what I'm saying. If you're basing your connection and your like how we were talking about how more people have been woken up. If that's by the internet, it doesn't have to necessarily have to be by my physical works. It could be by something that I say that sparks something in you. Rather, it's really true or not.
no, all that's true. I was just sharing, just you know, from a communicative aspect, some of the positive aspects of the app, and as it pertains to the passing of the message from ear to ear, from mind to mind, from mouth to mouth. And I was also saying how, to your second question about so-called leaders utilizing these platforms, you know, I was saying that you know you could use these as a way to show your works because of the ability to spread your message instantaneously across the world. If I'm got a program with children and I want that to be known to multiple people, that's my works. I could show that work to people instantaneously to allow that message to be, you know, passed on, you know, like I said, instantaneously. So it has its perks. The downside is when people are on here speaking as leaders, but they don't have any good deeds or works to help back up their words. So then now you just seem like a person with great insight who was on the app, and that's okay too, to a certain extent. Everything has its purpose, so you know what I mean. But you know, it is a distinguishment between those who have works, and it's levels to works. It's all different types of works. I'm not pitting one
Hmm.
work above the other. I'm just saying works in general. You know, but you have to have works. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm just
You
saying,
know,
like
in
when
that
we're in a
aspect.
different playing field, how do we leverage physical works over
Well,
these
I never determined the
different
state of the
dimensional
work.
works?
Well, I just use works. If it's dimensional work, it's still work. If it's physical work, it's still work.
But that's what I was more so getting at. So you were saying like how could they claim leadership if they didn't have certain works to show? But when we're talking about the internet, what is valued as work could be necessarily
No,
different
I
than
didn't
what
say
we're
that,
used
Queen. I didn't say that. I just said that you want to be able to have some works to show. If you just on here just talking and not necessarily have any, I don't care what the works is. If you think that you speaking any piece of life is your work, then that's your work. I'm not here to define what the
to.
work is. I'm just using the term generally to say anything that can be quantified, you know, and qualified as a deed, an action, or something that is impactful or could be measured in some type of way.
Well, you know, my experience in the internet, man, I tell you, I'm about to tell my age right now, right? So, so with this whole internet thing took off back in the 90s, many of us that was already woke before the internet even popped off already had an understanding like, yo, when this thing happens and when the stage gets set, we're going to have access to many worldviews. You feel what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so with that being the case, you know, we had to understand that, yo, we're going to be getting and we're going to be giving and receiving a lot of information. Understand they're going to be collecting data.
yeah.
So again, I'll get to the leadership part that works in a minute. So
Take your time, King.
what the internet has done in my opinion, and this is why I tell people, even though I'm on it and I use it as a tool to connect to people, you know what I mean? Hopefully to awaken them in some type of way to change their mindset from wherever they at to get to that positive place. There's times where you have to know when to disconnect from this
Facts.
Fact. Big fact.
because you can get caught up into the digital world and there's so much catfishing going on in it. It doesn't have to just be for relationship, but then again, it is for relationship because you have people who are trying to connect to you. You know, like you said, works are works. They can have good works, they can have bad works.
Yes, sir.
So you have to be careful in how you go about cruising the net. You know, the part of the web that you should be on, trying to find the like-minded individuals. You know what I'm saying? Because even in the like-mindedness, you tell me, are they really like-minded? When you start getting deeper into the work in which you hoping there's a commonality or you all are trying to reach the same goal, you'll find that there are people that are connecting with you that are not really about that work.
Facts.
You
Big
know,
fact.
and then usually those be the ones that have the biggest mouths.
Big facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it, I'm just I'm just taking your point. I'm just taking what you were saying. As far as the works queen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like you're articulating it well because you're a person that saw when those two worlds collided. Like the two worlds that I'm talking about in terms of like the opposition of whatever this concept of leadership is, regardless of what you feel about it for you, how like it kind of had a different playing field, and in terms of how you interact with the world, is still different.
yeah. I could tell you this, like just my experience, man. I mean, being a history major.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. I apologize right now. I'm literally sitting here in the dark and I'm crying right now because sitting back, sitting back Monday, Monday morning as a Monday morning quarterback, I look at all of the things that was not explained to us about this internet, this new soapbox,
Mm-hmm.
because really that's what it is. It's a new soapbox, and it's still evolving, and it's evolving. It's evolving to the point where, like you said, as fast as information gets put out, there's no way that they could stop it. But the reality is that a lot of times they don't want to stop it
They don't, because
because
it mixes
it,
in with lies, makes confusion. They want
Well,
confusion.
new
yeah.
psychological paranoia platform.
Facts.
Now that makes a little bit of sense there, a lot of bit.
Sure. I
This
mean,
is
they go as far as even paying people to get on here and spew bullshit.
yeah. I was talking to
See,
a
that's
coworker
why this.
today, and
Mm,
he said to me that when he used to do in college, because he went to Old State, and he said to me, he said, yo, you know what I used to do in college? I said, what? He said, I used to get paid about $500 every month just to do fake write ups on
Mm-hmm.
products. So, when you thinking that you're getting a quality product, you're not getting a quality product. You know what I'm saying? I used to do. He said he used to do fake write ups on products, fake write ups on restaurants, books, things like that. You feel what I'm saying? So when you are on this thing called social media, when you are on these platforms, you dig what I'm saying? Even when you
that's right.
oh, oh my God, yo, listen, man, I'm so sorry, yo, Wiz,
What's
yeah,
up?
y'all have no idea, man. I mean, y'all probably do. I'm 50, so when I see this whole thing develop, and I see it still developing, I see. I'm looking at how Facebook is algorithms that are popping up in all our feeds are becoming more and more. repetitive every day. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, when will these things end? It's not going to end. So you just gotta really be careful, man. Even tonight while we're talking, you know what I'm saying? Yo, just be careful with the things that you are getting involved in. And I hope that anyone that's listening, when you dealing with like-minded people that are true and honest, if you're not about this life, about exchanging real good energy and being honest with truth, stay off this feed, man. Stay off my people feed. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say, man. Wiz, I love you. Queen, love you. Brother, King, love you. I love y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to holler at y'all. Your Wiz, get at me tomorrow at the 5. Man, look, man, I'm going to bed, man. I love y'all, man. And make
I
sure
love you, man. I appreciate your
Peace,
existence and
King.
I appreciate your wisdom, King. Thank you for coming to deliver that message to us.
all right,
Love you.
that's what's up,
I,
man. Love y'all, man.
Peace.
RP. Yeah, man. That's real shit though. Like if people not really about the work, man, they do need to stay the hell away for real
But
because
here's what I say about that, big bro. And this is my disposition on it, right? I'd rather something good be trendy
yeah.
and allow the subconscious mind to take effect and take a toll, because eventually those things will become a part of the actual culture. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
if we see that it's a trend for everybody to study their third eye, we see it's a trend for everybody to buy or sell or consume CMOS. We see that it's a trend for everybody to get crystals and put crystals all over their bodies, right? If we see that these things are becoming trendy, as a person, I speak for myself, and all of those who know me, bear witness to my existence and bear witness to my testimony, could say that I'm a walking one who lived this. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just to say that I've been doing this for my entire existence. You know, since I was a young boy, it's my cultural. It's a cultural thing for me. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say that for me to see others getting into this, I was always happy, because I looked at it like, yo, now I can finally have conversations that I want to have, and it don't no longer be taboo. I can now, you know what I'm saying, be one of the ones who could honestly say that I was one of the pioneers of these types of things, and I could share that to young people and, those who choose to listen. But if it's by it being trendy, lets me know that there is a conscious wave, quote unquote, I use that term, figuratively, that the people it's something inside of the people where now this
This
is
our people.
it's exactly
We a part of this.
and to me, I love it because it's a reminder that no matter what the oppositional force has tried to do over the eons that they've been doing it, that we are gonna always overcome. And then, like in a roster culture, I grew up around many rosters. Um, they say that the righteous will always triumph. You know what I'm saying? That the righteous will always win, that the wicked will
Right.
surely fall. It's like a consistent proverb that you consistently hear through that culture. And that is 100% fact. So yeah, what I will say, if you coming in this thing trying to swindle, like if it's like a gimmick, you're going to get exposed. Like I give
Right.
you an example, the guy King Erna. I don't know if you're familiar with King Erna. He's a YouTuber. He like to snatch your honor. You know what I'm saying? He's a, he's like a Baltimore, New York guy. Some East Coast cat. And he was out selling CMOS, and and he was, kind of like telling, not accurate information as it pertains to CMOS, as it pertains to his consumption, as it pertains to, what actual product did he actually have? Was it actually Chondrus crispus, or was it some other form of seed vegetation? You know what I'm saying? That looks like Chondrus crispus, But anyway, he has an OG that had to come in and check him. You know what I'm saying? Let him know, hey, listen, fam, you're not speaking on the information right. So if you coming in with a negative aspect where you want to be a hustler, you want to get a gimmick, you trying to scam, ooh, look at Brother Polite. Anybody that tried to come in with a agenda that is negative, that people be using these platforms gonna come out and they're gonna speak against you. Now, of course, you can have slander campaigns and things like that are not necessarily true. But the point I'm trying to overall make is that with this being a trend, we have to allow this trend to take its own course and allow it to go through its own maturation process, because eventually you know, enough of the real people, enough of the ones who are authentic in this are gonna breed others and connect with others on that same way. Where those who ain't necessarily, you know, 100%, either they gonna fit in or fade out. But the majority is gonna consume the minority in that aspect from an energetic, spiritual, conscious standpoint. And this is gonna be that you're gonna see the culture start to become reinstituted amongst the people over generations or however long the process takes. So again, I'd rather something good be trendy than a lot of the stuff that has been trendy in the past that it's not been beneficial to the people. You follow? I mean, I begin alone with it, so pardon me, Ken.
No, I agree with that though. I agree with that. You feel that, Goddess?
Do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What,
And
okay, can I just like pose a concept?
of course,
This is a hypothetical concept, but just listening to you guys speak about the situation. And this I shouldn't be having on this platform, but I guess I'm about to have it on this platform.
let's get to it.
Like just thinking about how you just conceptualized that whole situation and how right now we are using the internet that I think that has different purposes for those same reasons to connect, spread knowledge, and ultimately build a culture. I remember, like, for example, when I saw certain memes and it like connected me with other Black, African American, or whatever you want to define yourself, Black people that were born and raised in this country, and the experiences that were very, very similar. And it was funny. And we started to connect with that, right? And how we're saying a lot of people are quote unquote waking up, whatever that means, and how that could inspire like a lot of what's going on right now in terms of like the further planned dysfunction and how it's
Hmm.
all been used and to even add to that confusion that we're in kind of right now to
Mm-hmm.
discredit a lot and put further narratives. Just like hearing you guys talk about that kind of like impose that
No,
scenario.
that's real because you know
Very,
when you create a program, a platform like this, when we start looking at over the course of time, information was the most sacred thing that man could possess because it's the information that would allow man or woman, if you will, to be able to cultivate, create, maintain, so on and so forth. So if you were able to control the releasing or the dissemination of certain informations, you was always going to be in control, which is why our you know occult societies back in the days was very powerful. You know, if you wasn't an initiate in those school thoughts and those school systems, you weren't gonna know those types of things, right?
very,
So now, when you have in the era where information is so abundant, where you could go and find out anything in a split second, if you are now the powers where you trying to still control this information, one of the best mechanisms to control the information is to allow all information to hit the floodgate. You see, because now there's going to be so much that an individual is going to be very difficult for them to discern false from reality, fact from fiction. You know what I'm saying? And because of
And
that, you're going to
distraction.
and but that is the distraction. The confusion is the distraction because now instead of us having a collective conversation about something that we already know to be true, we're gonna have
right.
most people will have conversations about their position, what your position is, and how you feel about that, and this. But well, what's your sources? Who you learn that from? And you know
Yeah,
what I'm
we
saying?
can't.
Oh, that person ain't credible. That person would, you know, all this weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
like that's the distraction. So you know that's why I like platforms like yourself, Wiz, because you focus on I notice a trend here where the idea is allowed to be passed through each, you know, vessel.
For
Each
sure.
person is allowed to disseminate that idea, and no
Mm-hmm.
one. I haven't seen any contentious energy. You see what I'm saying? At all. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
because the information is like she was saying about how the dollar circulate. The information circulates like this. The understanding and the energy goes around like that. You know, and in its raw, authentic form. You know, and then when we done with the subject matter, we go on to the next, and no with no hostility or no negative vibes. You know what I'm saying?
sure.
And then the spirit is able to, you know, the truth, the you know, all of the things that we want to see happen with this thing is able to be, you know, you see an example of it through these types of conversations. So that's why I always come through and give my portions and try to and bless and put positive energies on the spirits that's
Nice.
listening and everything, because I know that this is one of those platforms where those things could happen. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'd be in my own world doing this in real life. You know what I'm saying? You would
Sure,
see me post what I post, but I'm in real life.
for sure. You know, I think it's very important. I just think it's very important for different perspectives to be brought up because, you know, everybody has different perspectives. I think we were talking about it on Wise is, no, I keep saying Wise on uh, Chief's page. We were talking about on there how everybody's different, everybody's individuals, and everybody's unique. We all got our own finger for a reason. We all got different fingerprints, say, for a reason. So people gonna have different perspectives. People gonna feel one way about one thing, not one way about the other. But at the end of the day, a lot of times when you're on the same path and same type of journey, sometimes you're saying the same thing. You just may be saying it a different way, if that makes
Absolutely.
sense. So that's
That
why,
makes a whole
That
heap of
makes
sense.
yeah, that's why I think it's very important, you know, just to listen to different perspectives. You know, because in today's world, if you don't say the same thing or agree, like it's people don't. This argument. And like, damn,
hmm
we're adults and we're supposed to be on this higher vibration, and we all are on the goal for self mastery. And when you're on that type of journey, that's why I always look at both from both perspectives because
And
that's why I be like, you right and you right. Depending now, if it's some fuck shit, I'm not gonna say that, but you know what I mean. If a lot of times that person's right and that person's right because that's the way that person thinks. That's their perspective. That's how that person thinks, and that's their perspective. And it is what it is.
mm,
A lot of times we still are saying the same shit, just different ways.
yeah,
That's
I
a
was gonna say
fact.
Hayden said
You
that
know.
divided by unity. I wouldn't necessarily say divided. I would say that like once we like can get over our own ego enough to be valid to ourselves in our position and also value everyone else's opinion for the bigger picture, you can work together, right?
That,
Because perspective is to give you different vantage points of the same picture,
mm-hmm,
right?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And even like sharpen you, like that whole terms of like iron or steel, sharpen steel, whatever it is.
hmm
All right.
Sometimes hearing a different perspective like sharpen you up to like even fine tune what you mean about whatever
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you
It
talking
tests
about.
your ability to be receptive too.
Hmm.
And we're all here to learn from each other. You know what I mean? We're all
Yeah, that's
that's
why it definitely shouldn't be divided.
exactly. We're all here to learn from each other. To me, I feel like life is the best teacher. And we're all on different parts of our journey. Okay, as well too. So we should never compare ourselves to other people's journey. But I'm loving the build. I'm loving the way the family coming together. I'm loving the way that people are being receptive to this. Because like 5 years ago, we wouldn't have been having these type of conversations. But we
Oh,
know it's
5 years ago on my college campus, they called me the devil.
yeah. But you know it's the age of Aquarius. It's the age, it's the age of Aquarius, and I am an Aquarius, so I really live it.
Gang, you an Aquarius? Gang, gang.
Yo, you know what I
When's your
mean? What's up?
birthday?
What up, though? What up?
When's
When's
your
your
birthday?
birthday? When's your birthday?
See, I'm gonna tell my February 5th.
Okay, I'm Valentine's Day. I'm February 14th, but all my brothers and my dad were all in February. Like my dad is February 7th. My older
Oh
brother's
wow.
13th. I'm February 14th. My little brother's
My
February 4th.
I'm gonna keep it real,
Feb-
King. You the
What's up?
first Aquarius man that I've ever met who communicates effectively.
Really?
And one of the reasons why I gravitated toward your energy when we was talking on Chiefs Right Now page when you had hopped on that one day, that first time I met you, and you what you said, you was like, you was talking about, what some of the issues that we have with communication and how we have to be able to respect each other's perspectives and so on and so forth. And that's when I realized right there in that moment, I say, this is a brother who values the process of communication. You dig what I'm saying? And considers those things as it pertains to communicating with your fellow brother. But as far as just on some zodiac stuff, my mama's an Aquarius. All of my, you know, uh, not, I ain't had the bestest experiences with the Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? But to see a good energy, a good spirit, to go to show you just the uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's always two sides to a thing. So to bear witness that, you know, because I let you on a quick nugget. I got the universal creator blessed me with a new life that's gonna be made manifest, you know, in the during the times of the constellations of the Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? And I was a little bit I was upset at that. You follow? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh no, hell no, you know, you know, just because of my past experiences. So you give me good energy and give me good life, you know what I'm saying, to see that, you know, it's another side to it. So you see how the universe works in this very powerful ways, you know what I'm saying? So I shade you, King.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate those kind words. You know, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a
It's been
Capricorn,
a
by
lot
the
of
way,
work
you feel?
for sure. It's been a lot of work though, King. You know, we us Aquarius, and I'll speak for myself, but we on another dimension half the times, and I'm sure the goddess probably can feel that. So a lot of times we be gone on a whole nother dimension, but communication was something that I had to learn, brother. You know, I had to learn that you had to listen to be an effective communicator. And that wasn't something that I always was good. I don't want to say good, but that wasn't something that I was always focused on and intentionally doing. Now I intentionally make sure I listen when people open their mouth, especially if we having communication. And I'm gonna be honest, I learned that from my soon-to-be ex-wife. Because at one point in time, I would hear one thing, it would go in one ear and out the other. And she would always come back like, "But you don't remember me saying that?" Guys know how that goes when you are not necessarily, um, I'm gonna say when you in your little boy stage. I'm gonna just leave it there. When you're
Okay.
in your little boy stage, you're not really paying attention. But once you start evolving and you start tapping in and connecting with that divine feminine, that's who taught me that. Taught me the effect to be able to communicate effectively and be able to listen effectively as well. She was actually the reason I got on my spiritual journey, period.
Mm,
And that's typically, the divine feminine brings that out of the divine masculine. So I show her gratitude for that, for sure.
facts, facts.
Shay, what time is it, man?
Shay.
Man, I've been vamping lately. I think my new C, I ain't never vamped this much in my life. You know what I'm saying?
I
But I've
always
been
vamp.
vamping lately.
I get up at 5 o'clock every morning, and I only typically get. I know I'm not all the way human. I typically only get like 2 hours of sleep, and I'm cool. I can get straight up, be ready to work
That's
out,
funny.
pull ups, push, run,
No, that
whatever,
I agree with you on that. On my body, I can never stay asleep past like 8 o'clock. You know, I'm up every
regardless.
morning.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm definitely like that.
But
So
I've been vamping, man. I've been up. I'm in my studio now. You know, I do music. You know, so I'm always, I've been utilizing this time. You know, when I be on these bills, I get off. Give me some things to talk about in my craft. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I definitely been enjoying this past couple of months where I could be, especially some of these conversations, man. I've been on this other app called Bigo, and I just get up on there and see, if there's some knowledgeable people up on there. And it's good because the universal creator always allow good energies and good people to come in my life or come across my path or I come across theirs, and I'm appreciative of that because, that's just a testament to where my
I,
wavelength on. You feel me?
you have a lot to do with that too, though,
I'm no.
because you're manifesting it, you living it, you're attracting it, leading by example, you're inspiring. So that energy, you put out that energy, of course, it's gonna come back to you.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
Yes,
definitely
sir.
big that too. That's that God frequency, that God energy.
Yeah. And it's always humbling though, like I'm always humbled by it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm grateful for the continuous humility that is innate in my being. You know what I'm saying? Because a
Mm.
lot of times I seen a lot of ones who get this understanding and the chest be out like this, you feel me? you know, and they be walking around like this, and that's
Mm.
okay. But it has to be a level of humility accompanied by that, so that way you're never too big for engagements and interactions and new perspectives, because that boastful braggadocious energy that could come along with this knowing you know, could be very, very detrimental as well, you know, to one and his ability to cultivate genuine, positive, God-like relationships. You feel?
That's a fact. And Most High snatch that shit away too if you get
Quick,
too out of balance.
quick.
It's snatch if that talent, whatever it is, charisma, whatever it is, that's helping people magnetize towards you, take it away like that. So you got to stay balanced at all times for
You
sure.
know,
So
I've got to the point, King, where like I'm so guarded by this. Like I don't even like to entice envy, or I don't even like to do anything that would even entice envy or could cultivate an envious type of thing. That's how on guard I am with this, trying to protect this energy, because I know how sensitive and fragile the man energy is. You know what I'm saying? Or just people in general, for that matter. You know, like you could be talking, you could be speaking, you could be doing your thing, and you know someone who you thought was such a good person, a little seed of envy would be planted within them, and they're not even strong enough to identify that they just been infected, you
mm,
know, and then they don't know how to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then that affects them into all kind of things that has caused so many of our organizations to fall. And I always think about that because that's the things that I strive for. I'm a community leader. I'm a person. I'm in the community working with children. So I always think about, man, like, and that's probably one of my things. Like I say, I'm so apprehensive on building with so many brothers because of those types of situations and interactions. So when I do engage, I'm always thankful that it's, especially when I, you know, when it's a positive build like things like these. I'm so thankful to the Creator because I don't want to have that energy with my fellow brother. You know what I'm saying? You
right.
know, and you have to be mindful of that. You know what I mean? I had a couple of guys disagree with me on that. They're like, "Nah, fuck that, bro. Shine, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them, nigga. Let them hate, bro. Woo woo." You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, "Listen, brother, I hear you, but you don't understand what's at stake. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? Jesus did that. He went out and told them exactly who he is. Look, I'm the son of God." You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't
Mm,
handle that. You know what I mean? Just using that as an example, allegorically, you know, speaking. But you know, it is important that we have these types of bills in this manner, focusing on communication, allowing perspective to be shared. You know, being receptive, and then being able to take that with us as we go on our journey, so we could be able to know that these things that we talk about is actually for real, for real. You know?
I say absolutely. Did I tell you I work with kids as well?
You mentioned it when I said something about it the other day, and you was like, "Me too," but we never really tapped into it. But what you do, King?
I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist.
Nice.
So, and I be giving the kids the real
Oh.
Yeah,
homie
yeah,
sugar.
yeah,
So that, and I'm kind of like you. Like that's why, you know, that's that Aquarius in me, that humanitarian in me. I have Aquarius in like three different placements. So I'm Aquarius all the way in. I'm a
Where do you
Moon
have
Virgo.
Aquarius? Oh.
I have Aquarius sun
What's
sign,
your what's your
but
ascendant?
my midhaven, my ascendant is Taurus,
Okay.
but my midhaven is Aquarius, and my Mars is in Aquarius as well too. And then, like I said, I'm a Moon Virgo, a Virgo Moon, and I have Virgo in three different placements as well too. And then
Okay.
Taurus rising, Taurus ascending. So, but I was telling guys, I work with kids because I look at that as a way to give back.
yeah,
And you know, I work with troubled youth,
yeah. Me
and
too.
I'm honest, when I first started working with kids, they were giving me like a lot of white kids, right? So just listen to the story. So they were giving me a lot of white kids, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, fuck. I was telling my wife at the time, I'm like, man, I got in this thing to, you know, to raise the melanated mindset, to help our kids, to build our kids. And of course, I had some of our kids as well too. But she said something to me that really made me like change my whole perspective on it. And she was like, "Well, you got to look at it like this. They need to know the truth as well too. So at the end of the day, you still raising the vibrations and you still affecting the planet, because not only are you uh, teaching our kids the truth, but you're teaching them the truth as well too. So when they grow up, they're gonna raise their people. When they be receptive to information, they raise in their family different too. So you still raising the vibration. And she was so right, because they watch my show to this day. I'm talking, listen, 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds.
or they tap into my show. They go on my YouTube. They be sharing it with their friends and shit. So when that happens, man, that like it really, really hits home. Like it brings tears to my eyes sometimes when I think about it, because when I can come to work and the kids ask me, 14-year-old ask me like, hey, can we go out there and earth today or ground today, or can we go meditate, or let's go on that hike we were talking about. Like when they start talking to me about that type of stuff, bro, like it's like it does something to me. You know, it
Man,
does, it really,
man,
really does something to
I totally understand, man. And that's the energy that the youth bring to you too. You know what I'm saying? To know that you're being impactful and the lives of so many young people is so, amazing. For me, um, the ability to be able to know that I'm able to plant a seed that will be able to fertilize and within you, and as you grow, and then to know one day that that tree will bear fruit, and that fruit would be something that that person could consume to help them throughout their life. That is the most satisfying feeling for me. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I've had
me.
parents come, I had this one lady, and children also challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone,
Oh man,
with
they
your,
teach you so much.
man, like for me, I grew up very cultural, you know what I'm saying? Very tribal people, you dig? And we have our own outlooks on certain things, without getting in specific. And working with children in modern days, the children are impacted by this society. Therefore, you're gonna see a lot of those things being manifested in their behaviors and mannerisms in the school systems. You know what I'm saying? Particularly, sexuality, right? And I've had children as young as fifth grade, sixth
Mm,
grade that I had to have conversations with about sexuality because of, and I'm talking about like with, with the administration present, you know what I'm saying? DCFS and all this because of the things that the children was, engaged in. You dig what I'm saying? Um, I had a parent come up to me, crying, thanking me, because her child was suffering from, sexual identity crisis, if you will. I hate to use that term, but because they so young, but anyway, to see how I was able to be impacted and changed as a man to deal with young people in those particular manners, and to see how those things are being received by the families, was so humbling again to me because, it could just goes to show just why we do this work when we're working with these young people. You know what I'm saying? And
I say.
man, I love it, man. I'm actually excited. We start back training. Right now currently a program manager, in the Martin Luther King Art School up here, and we do a lot of social emotional learning work, a lot of tutoring. I oversee the program, make sure that my employee, my coaches and educators and everybody doing the right thing, engaging with teachers and administration to make sure we all on the same path, and things to that regard. But I'm actually currently working on a curriculum, with my own programs. With it's called it's work focused on social emotional learning with an emphasis on cultural competencies, while also implementing restorative justices and restorative practices as a means for conflict resolution. So that's my you dig. So I'm working with some principals to get and working on the curriculum simultaneously to be able to get these implemented in the schools, because that's what I do for a profession out there: after school programs, leadership programs, coaching basketball, all that. So the idea is to get these things taught inside the schools, so we can really be able to raise the vibrations of the youth in the most dynamic way possible. When I really share some of the things with you, Ken, you're gonna be like, man, bro. I'm talking about when you see some of the curriculum, the social emotional learning with the emphasis on cultural competencies using restorative practices and justice as a means for conflict resolution. When you see that shit all mixed together, bro,
I
man,
look,
you're gonna be like, that shit's so fire, my Ken. You
I look forward to it. I look forward to it. Goddess, you got something you want to add?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay.
I'm just
I
listening.
look forward to it. I look forward to it, man.
I look forward to it as well.
Absolutely. I can't wait for the evolution of that. And I'm excited that I get to be a part of that. I'm sure we'll veggie back on some things and talk, amongst each other. at times. But I thought it was, you brought up a very interesting point when we were talking earlier, Wise, when you had mentioned that you focus on the kids a lot. And I definitely have found myself really wanting to connect with the youth. I know at one point in time, and I'm still working with them, but I know like with adults at times, you know, they can be so jaded or so caught up in, you know, the matrix and just jaded by old ways of living and old ways of thinking that sometimes the youth, you know, if you can catch them before they are jaded themselves, you know what I'm saying? It could be more, it could be a lot more work done there. And so I do see that. Now I had actually started working with a young group I called them the YGs, the Young Guns, because they were all 25 and younger. So I had like some 17-year-olds, a couple 18-year-olds, a few 20, 21-year-olds, and they used to come on the show, Wise, and I'm talking, I used to tell these kids like, bruh, if I were where you are, and then they know they shit, because you know it's the Aquarian age, the age of Aquarius, so the blindfolds are off, so they see a lot of shit, and a lot of truth is brought to them at a lot younger age than it was to us. Like they know stuff at like 10 years old that we didn't learn that we was 30. You know what I mean? Or even older. So I always joke and tell these kids, like, if I was where you guys are mentally, spiritually, I would definitely be at my age now. I'd be levitating, because I mean these kids are they are amazing and they impress me. I mean, I'm gonna introduce you to some of them too, because you know they definitely need to see some divine masculine energy like yourself and just connect with you, hear you speak, and you will love to hear them as well too. I mean,
Man,
these kids
I
sharp.
do, King. Man, you know, like you hit it right on the head, brother. Like to me, that's the reward, right? Like I was just mentioning, you know, planting the seed, let the seed fruit, you know, so that way it could bear its fruit, and then they could be able to eat the fruit to help take themselves along their journey, heal themselves, and to be their healthiest self. Like, and then they hit it to, hey, young people, young brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like I got children myself, you know what I'm saying? I got a 16-year-old stepson, you know, who I've been raising since he was 7 years old. You dig what I'm saying? I got my little babies, and you just seeing how they are already picking up on it. You know, like I teach my babies that about their African history. I teach them about, you know, their spiritual understanding, teach them to love the creator, how to give thanks to the creator. You know what I'm saying? Little tidbits like that to put them on the path. And I just see how they are able to regurgitate that. And you feel me? So I
Man,
could just imagine you talking about a young boy, you know what I'm saying? Young 18 years old, like that's how me and my, like, you know, like as those who know me, they tell you when we went to college, 18 years old, 17, you know what I'm saying? We was already we came through the door manifesting. We came through the door, you know what I'm saying, all on this way, you know what I'm saying? So I could just imagine how it would be now, you know, and to the
well,
younger generation who, you know what I'm saying? I love that, man. That's to me, that's
man,
how I'm
it's the
repaid, you know what I mean, through their success.
yeah, that energy right there. That's the frequency, man. I'm telling you, because they recharge me, um, they charge me, and they sharp too, and they are just they're extraordinary, man. Like it's just amazing when you hear some of them speak, and just the stuff that they talk about, and the knowledge that they know, and just like just about laws, and just about like free will, and man, it's mind blowing. It's
Yeah,
mind blowing, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it, and that's why I'm so excited about you know, finally coming into my purpose in 2020 when you know, during the pandemic. Yes, I said it right, the pandemic. When I
facts.
came into my purpose, um, coming into that, you know, I let all ego go, let all ego aside when I finally realized what it was, because I entered and understand that it's bigger than me. So that kind of goes back to when we were talking about the leaders earlier. A lot of the situations and a lot of the examples that I heard a lot of you guys talking about, a lot of it was ego that ended up being a demise. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
whether if it was from the leader or if it was from the Judas of the group or whatever it was, they took money,
Hmm.
whatever the case may be. But a lot of it had us ended up falling was all due to ego.
Yes, sir.
So that's, so ego is and don't get me wrong, we do have to use some ego. From my perspective. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely have to balance it out. But when you leading with ego, that's when it can really be, you know, you can get yourself in trouble. That's
Yeah,
just my.
man. No, I agree. I agree because the ego is that's it's you know aspect of yourself. You know what I mean? It's your ability to identify with the individuality aspect of who you are. You know what I'm saying? So the ego, you know, the problem is that you could become so infatuated with the self to the point to where it could become detrimental to your ability to see the oneness in all things. You see what I'm saying? So like. That's why I be so apprehensive, King. Like I was raised militant, like you know what I mean. So like
Mhm.
you know when and because of my studies of our leaders, you know, in the historical past and their downfalls and the issues of ego and their demise or in our demise, it had caused me to become so apprehensive to even want to cultivate in that level that we did back in those days because if you are only as strong, if a nation is only as strong as its weakest link, and you are going up against an oppositional force who has all of the weaponry in place to be able to destroy you, then you have to your weakest link have to be impeccable. Your weakest link have to be stronger than their strongest link. You understand? And that is something that
Mhm.
we have to figure out a way to do. You know what I'm saying? But it's always a nigga on drugs. It's always a nigga who don't know himself. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is grab one of them. Come here, you tell me everything you know. You know what I'm saying? And that motherfucker squealing like a rat. You know what I mean? And then now they coming in to infiltrate our movement. You know, and this is what I think about because as a leader, that's something that I'm always concerned with. You know what I mean? Because they do the same damn tricks on us. You know. So again, you know, the ego. You're absolutely correct. That's why I said I liked what you said when I first met you, and that made me want to continue to communicate with you because you said, you know, you was very mindful of how to communicate with fellow kings, and you was not going to allow someone to be imposing upon you with their ideology. You feel me?
Absolutely. I think I said be impeccable with your word. Is that what I said?
Yes, yes, bro, yes.
Hmm. That's it. Because I had to tell somebody that like a couple days before I said that, because somebody was trying to project their lifestyle onto me, and I had, you know, politely let him know that he was talking to a guy, and he had to be impeccable with his word because he was comparing he was comparing like some bullshit to something that I was doing, and I had to stop him like, hold on, bro, that's your opinion. You know what I mean? And that's when
Right.
I told him impeccable with his word. So yeah, man, that shit is facts. That shit is definitely. She said the four agreements. Absolutely, absolutely, Sophia, for sure, the four agreements. All right, y'all. Look, I gotta get up in a couple hours. I think I jump on
Good
off of this.
night.
Got to before we do though. We always got to come back to the divine feminine. Did you have anything you want to close out with or add before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. I appreciate y'all. This was a dope build.
Well,
Blessings.
we appreciate you. Hell, you was the reason we sparked it.
Absolutely.
You hit me like you ain't going back live. So you was the reason we come back on here for sure. So I appreciate you, and Wise, I always appreciate you, and
Man, I appreciate you
everybody
for
on the
extending
line.
your platform, King.
Absolutely, everybody on here, we appreciate y'all for sharing y'all amazing energy with us. We know everybody's energy is precious, and we don't take that lightly. So thank you guys, and anybody else that wants to tap in for the actual next show, it'll be this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are going to have a divine feminine panel. So,
Ooh,
Goddess, if you want to tap in Sunday, we could definitely use your input, your perspective, your energy, because
Okay,
we're gonna be the divine. It's gonna be a panel for the divine feminine. So please tap in.
I will.
All
All
right,
right, guys.
love you. I'm
peace
out
and
of here.
love, King. Yes, sir. Hey, enjoy your rest, man. Rest well. When you wake up in the morning and accomplish all of your things you want to accomplish, King. To you as well, Empress.
Thank
Same to
you.
y'all, royal family. Same to y'all. And Wise, I'm gonna hit you up here in the next day or so because we need to connect anyway.
Yes, sir. I'm with you, bro. Let me hit my line ready, man.
100. Love
Peace.
y'all. Peace.
Yes, sir. Love you too, King.